That's crazy because it doesn't have any load on it.
It should be all right. Go.
Yeah.
Go to 60.
Go to 60. This sounds louder up here. I'm hearing it louder. I hear this, but it's a different tone from that. This is not the tone I'm hearing. I'm hearing this tone. All right, what's going on, guys? It's Justin again, as usual. I'm just back in Colorado for the holidays, and then I will be going back to Colombia to start some new projects, like, tuning motorcycles. So I'm gonna try it on my scooter first to see how it goes and see if everything I learned with Mazda can translate into the motorcycles. But on the scooters it's a little bit different because I have a CVT, so I'm learning CVT tuning now and how to put proper timing with that because of the different loads. Anyways, regardless of that, let's go back to the topic that I just showed you. So, as you know, this is probably the biggest issue with the all-wheel drive Mazdas. All right, so this sound, most people are trying to figure out where it's coming from, and I know where it's coming from, and it's not just a problem that is on the Mazda 3 all-wheel drive and the Mazda CX-30 all-wheel drive. This is actually an issue with all the Mazdas that send power to the rear wheels. All right. I mean, I'm not so certain about the CX-90 and stuff, but they have so much insulation you wouldn't hear it anyways. All right. But on the lighter Mazdas, like your Mazda 3, CX-30, even your Miatas, you will hear the gears. All right. So it's nothing to be concerned about, unless the sound is increasing over time, and there's a very distinct sound that can be heard from the rear differential and the transfer case. There's a different sound, and they also both transmit up to each other. But so let's just get to what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Since I've had my Mazda, which is the Mazda 3 all-wheel drive, there's been noise. All right, when I first got the vehicle around 20,000 miles, there was a distinctive noise that I would hear during deceleration. All right, and eventually over time that noise went down. All right, that noise was coming from my rear differential. All right, and that noise is a lower pitch sound, and it only would show up when I was letting off the throttle and decelerating. All right, and that sound, like I said, it went away. Well, there's also a hum back here too, but it's only at these speeds that you hear it. So I think it has to deal with the transfer case. Or not. Now over time, I was hearing another sound, and it wasn't all the time. And I have a supercharger on there, so it's hard to distinguish what sound is what sometimes. Now, as you guys know, I tell you to use OEM fluids just because, just better safe than sorry. So in my transmission, I always use the Mazda FZ fluid. I'm not going to change to anything else because it works with the car. I haven't had any issues. All right. Now, for the gear oil, initially I never changed the oil in my rear differential. It was the same oil in there for almost 90,000 miles. But what I did do, I added extra oil and overfilled my rear differential just to mix some new fluid in with the old fluid. I did that at around 50 to 60,000 miles, and so I wasn't able to do my transfer case because I have a 19 model, and 19 and 20 has an issue where you need to remove extra items to get to it. So anyways, you guys know in my earlier video, I went to Speedy Roo and they did a modification so I can change my transfer fluid and my transfer case fluid. And in the process, Lance, the big turbo Lance, the most powerful turbo right now on the Mazda 3 BP platform, he convinced me to use liquid moly. Now, it's only been in there a couple thousand miles, and I pay attention to stuff because I worry about changing from OEM because I always want to use OEM fluid. Now, I've been reading all the forums, all the Facebook pages, looking at YouTube, and obviously is a very common issue that people have been having rear differential failures.
What else we got in here? Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that one doesn't even fit through the hole.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
there we go, ready?
Uh-huh.
For some of that. Oh, here's the big one.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, we could be doing this all day.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good enough.
It just doesn't end.
Uh-huh. That's great.
Yeah. That's a. Yep. Oh, yep. So that's a sudden failure.
Now, what I did notice, a lot of people that did have the rear differential failures, they were using aftermarket Royal Purple oil. So I know 3 people personally that switched from OEM fluid to Royal Purple, and 2 of them had their rear diff replaced, and 1 of them had their transfer case replaced, and that was shortly after putting in the Royal Purple. So that's what reinforced me to only use OEM fluid because it is specific for that vehicle. Now, Lance changed mine out to the Liqui Moly Hyper Gear oil. And I was worried because I'm like, man, these guys have problems with Royal Purple, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I've had it in there a couple thousand miles. And, and because I have this different oil, I've been paying more attention to, my differential and my transfer case because I want to make sure there's nothing going on. And so what I did notice, because I always had this hum, and since I had the vehicle, I noticed the hum was not, it was different, right? It was a little bit maybe noticeable because I was listening for it, but it's also it was a shorter range of harmonics. So I guess before I would have that harmonic sound, but it would be through a longer mile per hour range. But now that I had the Liqui Moly, it was a shorter range. And 29 to 32 miles per hour, I would hear the harmonics, and then it would return again at 56 to 63 miles per hour. And those are the only 2 places in my whole mile per hour band that I would hear that harmonic sound. All right. And so on the turbo models, it's a little bit higher, and people say they hear from 74 to 78 miles per hour. The reason why they hear it at that speed is because they actually have a longer, taller final drive. So their final drive is taller, meaning they go a faster speed with the same RPM. All right, because they have their gear drive is at a taller ratio, meaning their number is lower, and so their harmonics is a little bit higher than the NA models. All right, so right now the Liqui Moly is doing well. I think I only noticed the sound because it's in a shorter range of mile per hour because it comes on and off a lot, but I'm going to continue to run it to see what happens. And honestly, I do think the Liqui Moly is better than OEM because think about this, so many people have had the rear differential fail with the OEM fluid. So I mean, Royal Purple is worse than OEM. Do not use Royal Purple in your differential or your transfer case. Now, I'm not going to say use Liqui Moly yet, but it potentially could be better than OEM, and the only way I'm going to find out is if I keep running it longer and then I check for the metal in my rear differential to see if there's more than it was this last time when Lance checked it. So I'm hopeful that the Liqui Moly is better, but the sound that you guys are hearing, it's not the rear differential. The sound that you are hearing at that certain speed is your transfer case. All right. But the sound that you guys are hearing, it's not the rear. It's not the rear differential. The sound that you are hearing at that certain speed is your transfer case. All right. The rear differential, when it goes out, you will hear it anytime you decelerate. All right. And unfortunately, some of us are lucky. If you want to avoid not having issues with your rear differential, don't drift in the snow. Try not to do hard launches with your traction control off. That might be causing it to overload, and right now the rear differential is the weak point. I started making stronger tunes, and now all of a sudden, if people are trying to launch the vehicles on the stage 2 tune, it's going to blow the rear differential. And so I have been hesitant to hand out the stage 2 tunes to people. I only handed it out to 3 out of like 200 and something turbo customers because it is so strong. Now, it happens more on the Mazda 3s and not the CX-30s and the CX-5 and CX-9 because they have traction control, and on most of these models you can't turn the traction control off. So they have this off-road mode that allows traction control to be off for up to 20 miles an hour, and then it kicks on the brakes and everything. So those guys are more safe because they don't have full control of turning off traction control without removing your relay for your ABS. Okay, so the Mazda 3s are getting that issue. Now, it's not, like I said, that harmonic sign is, you really don't notice it unless you have a stock exhaust like me. I have the Turbo Mazda 3 exhaust, and that's probably why I can hear it, but most people won't even notice this sound because they have an exhaust on. It's very faint, and the only time I can hear it is when I have the music off and whatnot. So it is really not a concern. If you hear that noise, do not panic. It's just a natural thing. And like I said, funny enough, I've been able to drive a lot of different Mazdas, and it's not just on the all-wheel drive models. All right. When I went to Washington and I rented that 2023 from Toro of the Miata, there was this very distinctive sound that it sounded like straight cut gears when I was accelerating. And so, I mean, I kind of liked the sound. It was very mechanical, and that's like the sound that I am hearing in this, all-wheel drive car. But in all-wheel drive car is more, it's smoother. But in the manual ND2 that I was driving at 2023, you can clearly hear this, like it's almost like if you've ever been in an electric go-kart, is that acceleration sound and deceleration sound is very mechanical and geary, and it's nothing to worry about. It's just it's different. And that Miata drove fine. There was no issues with it, but there is that mechanical noise you can hear from the transmission, almost like a dog box, but very subtle. And I'll put a video here so you can hear what a box sounds like. So. Just imagine that straight cut gear sound, but it's very, very tiny. You can barely hear it, but it just, you can hear that transmission because these vehicles aren't so insulated. You can hear the gearing, from the, I guess on there going from the drive shaft, you'll hear that connection point. So yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Nothing to worry about. Here's the gear. So you want to make sure you use that for now until I finish testing my liquid moly, and I'm probably going to stick with liquid moly, and I obviously always use the OEM transmission fluid. Now, one thing that I forgot to do before I leave to Colombia, I need to change my gear oil for my supercharger, and I did a lot of research. Obviously, that the oil that's in my supercharger right now is the Eaton oil, but I did a lot of research on this and looked at all the reviews and looked at any failures, and a lot of people swear by this Tribodin, and I, like creature of habit, if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I probably shouldn't try to change this and just stick to the Eaton, but if I took the risk of doing that liquid moly and it was fine, you know, I want to go ahead and take the risk on this tri-blend. Worst comes to worst, I ruined the supercharger by trying this, but there's other people already using it and they have no issues. But if I do ruin the supercharger, guess what? I save you guys the trouble, and then you stick to what you know and just use the Eaton. So that's it for this video. Next video, I guess I'm gonna do this giveaway that I was supposed to do on this video. This battery tie down, genuine from a customer. It is a Auto EXC battery tie down, and if you want it, enter in for the drawing, and I will do that next week possibly. And as for, you know, me going back to Columbia, here is the ECU that I will be doing. I'll be tuning for my scooter. Very tiny, you know, even the battery is not much bigger than that. And just a few more things before I let you guys go, because, you know, it's holiday shopping season, and some of you still were interested in the supercharger. You know, it's about to be Black Friday, and right now until the 30th, they have a discount on the kits that you can get the supercharger for, I think, a little bit over $3,500. And if you're in the US, you don't have to worry about tariffs. If you're in other countries, I think the fee is going to be super small based on how they ship everything as a whole. So one person isn't paying for everything. But yeah, those kits are on sale until the 30th for $3,500. And also, guys, if you are still interested in getting the saw stickers, because people want it, tomorrow I'm going to make a code, and that will go until maybe like the 29th or 30th, probably like the 29th. I'll have a code tomorrow and it'll go till like the 29th, because I'm going to be leaving on the 1st to Columbia. And if you want a saw sticker, I'm going to make a code. And if you buy something from Jaywalkers, I mean, just even buying like a little beanie, I am going to ship you some sauce decals, like 2 stickers, and you'll have them. I mean, you can promote them if you want, or do whatever with them. Like, you know, I'm just surprised some of you guys wanted them. But that's it for today, and I'll catch you on the next one.